So here we go. 5/3/45 was the day that Dad came alive. Fritz and Catherine and his sister Joan, New Orleans is where they made their home. From Lake Pontchartrain down to Bourbon Street, with Mardi Gras and Buck, that town was complete. With Fritz and Catherine were in charge, you had it made. You were living life large. The levee broke a few years later. Fritz packed it up and they moved to Decatur. And now you know Georgia would never be the same. You know you're in for fun when you hear the fair show name. With Fritz and Catherine, his high school years were aces. Cadillacs, SKEs, and drop-top Stingrays took him many places. From coast to coast, from sea to sea, you might find Baumgartner and a kid named Henri. It's the 60s now, and life for Buck was always a gamble. Civil rights, free love, Dad kept a handle. From Johnson's Ferry to Lake Forest Lane, Dad knew how to love, and he never complained. Complained, why would he? He was as slick as snot. If Buck Fair Show was at the party, you knew it was hot. At this point, what a crew he had built. With the Deacon sisters and Priscilla, now life was full tilt. From Grady to Northside, O'Keefe back to Decatur. Dad knew them all. He really was a player. Now, in the sermon, I'll take you higher because I'd like to drop some names that in my life have inspired. Priscilla, Mary, Nancy, Joe Harris, Carl Schnitka, Adeline, Beppy, Pete Dewey, Ann Cavanis, Mimi, Tommy, Milton Leather, sir, Steve Kaleo, Thomas, Bim, Ronnie Downing, Richard Bell, to name a few. No, I'm not through. Did I mention you? Penny, Jill, Todd, Sandra, Jenny, Angie, Judy, Chelsea, and my family. If I've forgotten some names, you can add them for me, because I was quite young, and there's so many, you see. These names I have mentioned of family and friends, some that are here, and some that have passed, but one thing I know that is nice, they are together in God's paradise. And when we see them again, Mama and Dad will have Coke and beer on ice. And now my dad called my mom, 355-3436. I guess it was a fix. Old Bowler Road, I can see your face. Richard Bone and Geraldine Oden, these names I will not be withholding. Because without these people, I would not be me, standing here sounding so freaking silly and playing the Beatles and some Wet Willie. 4170, the day my story starts, Everything is Beautiful was at the top of the charts. This day, my dad says, was the best of his life, a feeling I'm sure that he shared with his wife. Life wasn't always easy. We hit some rocky roads, but when it comes to love and fun, my dad and I, we had loads. How am I doing? And to wind this thing down, I'll say one more thing. In this life, I've taken the good with the bad, but one thing is great is the love that I share with my dad. Thanks, y'all. To me, Dad was everything. I don't know about you guys, but he was a comedian, he was a philosopher, he was an artist, he was a comedian, he was a storyteller, he was a lover, he was a friend. He taught me to always love and never hate, and to never even use the word hate. So I've tried to instill that to my kids, and I hope it's working, kind of often. But I hate this. But anyway, person right now.
Tessie Montaser, this is videotaping, right? And he wanted me to tell about, he and Bucky both had minivans at the time, and so they come up, they were in a gang, there's just two of them in the gang, and it was the mini vandals.
But I just want to tell you guys, again, with everybody, thank you so much for being here. And it's a simple twist of fate, basically. With my Uncle Buck, I ran into him by accident. Long story short, guys, I went to return a guitar and I knocked on a friend of mine. We recorded some songs, my friend Benny and I, and he borrowed a guitar from this guy, Keith Atchison. And I knocked on the door. There's this 1989 or 90, and the man answers the door and he goes, "How you doing? My name's Buck." And I looked at him and I go, "I know exactly who you are. You're my Uncle Buck." And he was like, "Oh, my goodness." And we've been able to Keith Atchison could not believe it. He thought we were making the whole thing up. But, quite frankly, it's just, I don't really have the words to say anything else about that, to be perfectly honest with you. It just is what it is. And, it was like the next 20 to 30 years that I basically went on a ride that I cannot explain, nor do I care to.
But the fact that wonderful mind was linked with such a wonderful heart, because as everybody will attest, he knew how to love and he loved you. He loved his friends. A friend of mine at home said, "Well, when did you meet?" I said, "Well, I really can't remember. I had finished my third semester at University of Virginia and came home. You'd be drafted if you weren't in school in those days. So DeKalb College had just started up. So I drove over from Athens to DeKalb College. By the way, I'm Milton Leathers. I drove over from DeKalb College, to DeKalb College, and met Bucky then, but I don't actually remember when we met. But I do know that it was I came the spring semester of '67, and then I came back the fall, not semester, but quarter. I came back the fall quarter of '67, and we were sitting in the student union, and there was an announcement that the enrollment had doubled since spring. I'll never forget, Bucky was looking around and said, "They did it with mirrors. There are no new faces here. There are absolutely no faces. They did it with mirrors." And he had the first man cave that I knew about. I didn't know to call it that. On Johnson Ferry Road, his parents were upstairs. I never saw his mother in the daylight. She was always inside in a floor-length, diaphanous house gown, smoking, and loving Bucky and loving his friends. And they always had bananas on the counter, and I must have had 900 bananas at their house. That was my snack. I never heard him talk back to his parents. I never heard any little edge in his voice. They loved him. He loved them. He was always completely respectful. I just remember so many stories. I also remember, I just wrote this down a little while ago. I remember when he got sick, he would get in the bed and moan. Like he was in the bed, he was, and I went up and said, "Miss Fairchild, Bucky's in the bed moaning." She said, "Oh, he's always done that. When he gets sick, he just gets in the bed and moans." Anybody witness that? Another story, when he was downtown dancing one time, I wasn't there. Beautiful girl, dancing with this girl. And he knew each one wanted to outdance the other one. And so finally the girl gave in. She said, "Could we sit one out, please?" And typical gentleman Bucky, he said, "Oh, certainly. I'm so glad you said that, because I was ready 2 dances ago." Bucky did not want to trump what you were doing. He didn't want to beat your story. Yep. He wanted you to have a good story. He wanted to tell a good story. He wanted all together. He wasn't out there to beat anybody. He wanted everybody to feel good and do the best they could do. So anyway, they sat down. This girl says, whew. I said, "You're a great dancer," she said. He said, "Well, it's because you're a great dancer. I couldn't dance unless dance with somebody like you. I mean, you're such a great dancer." She said, "Oh man, that's great." She looked at him, she said, "Are you straight or gay?" He said, "Which one do you want?" And he told me later, he said, if she wanted a straight guy, I was her man. If she was going to convert a gay guy, I'm her man. One thing Bucky said, he said, "I never hurt anybody." I said, "Well, I guess maybe you're selling some of those things. You might have hurt somebody." He said, "Well, I never hurt anybody intentionally." And that's the truth. Bucky did not hurt anybody intentionally. He didn't want to hurt people. But it was amazing. He would call me from prison, a collect call, and it would say, "Calhoun State Prison, you have a collect call from," pause, "Buckwheat." And I get Bucky, said, "I put Buckwheat there in the beginning. I thought they'd let me change it later, but no, it's Buckwheat." How many got calls from Buckwheat? Anyway, so and I would pick up the phone. Sometimes I'd pick up the phone and he would say, "Well, some people call me Speedy, but my real name is Mr. Earl." So we got so many letters from prison. And right at the end, "Keep on smiling with a happy face." I told my wife, I said, "Honestly, keep on smiling with a happy face." I mean, he wasn't blessed with the most wonderful disposition. He just was. I mean, it was just nothing ahead but months in prison and keep on smiling. When he got out, he went to see his what do you call it? Not truant officer. That was years ago. Parole officer. And the parole officer told him, "Do not see any of your old friends." I said, "He's wasted his breath." I said, "Bucky loves his friends. I don't care what they did. Bucky's going to see his friends. I don't care who they are, what they did. He loves his friends, and he's going to see them." One of the things in prison, I sent him a subscription several times to the New Yorker magazine, and in the end of it, they had the cartoon caption contest. They give you a blank cartoon, a New Yorker cartoon, and then a few weeks later, there's a cartoon over here with 3 of the finalists who might be a caption, and then they have the winner a few weeks after that. So Bucky and I played the game, and we submitted it. And there were 3 times, I can only remember 2, but 3 times Bucky's caption was better than the winner. And the other one, it showed Clark Kent at the doctor's office, and they had his shirt open, you could see the S. And the one that won was something about that stupid underwear you've got on or something. We had trouble with that underwear or something. Bucky's caption was, and we would bounce these back and forth, but damn, every time he would finish it off and his would be better. I said, "Damn you, Bucky, that's better than what I thought of." But he would act like we did it together. And so Bucky's caption was the doctor had his stethoscope, and the doctor says, "Well, according to your x-rays," but of course you already know that. It was so much better than the winner. I said, "Bucky, I saw the future, and I'm the one who's holding your hand when you die, like just a nurse and me." He said, "Where's Bo?" I said, "Well, Bo came just a few minutes later." He said, "Yeah, I was always late. Or Bo's late. That's my son." I said, "Well, he was right there just as soon." He said, and I said, "Bucky, you died peacefully." And so I went by Patterson's funeral home on Spring Street and said, "Where's the Fair Show funeral?" And a very nice man said, "It's at the Moose Lodge in Mableton." Oh, Bucky would have screamed. He just would have screamed out loud. He said, "Well, first off, where the hell is Mableton?"
Nice.
Ostracism, and I'm not sure what that means, but we'll figure out later. And he could sell most anything. I don't care who was, if they didn't have the money, finance. If they had, it was just on and on. But he different kind of intellectual people. There's different kind of people that live similar lifestyles. Well, I wasn't very offensive, but I never found him to be offensive. And I'm serious. Never knew the man to be offensive.
Hi.
Tell us how much you love her. Whatever you feel from the heart, baby.
I don't know what to say.
Just say what you
Say
think.
how much you love him.
Yeah.
Half words, whole words.
I don't even know why I came up here.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
That's all right.
What Isabel wanted to say was that she loves Pawpaw, and thank everybody for coming, and that we love all of you guys, and you don't know what it means to us that you're all here, and just how awesome your stories are, John Cajols and Milton Leathers, and Ken, you guys are just the best. Angie, we love you guys. Dad loved you, and Dad's heart was full of love. He never ever said anything bad about anybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what they did. They could be the worst person, and he is not going to say that I'm not even going to say the word that he, what's them, because he had so much love to give and so much love to bring, and that's a beautiful thing. If more people could be like Buck, then what a world it would be.